Thank you. It's good to see you guys. It's good to be here with you all. Awfully excited about Jake, just from the prep of playing versus him and just all the stress and all of the detail that goes in with not giving up explosives. And then just the counterpunch comes so quick once there's an adjustment made and just all of that. I mean, you take record of that when you're in the middle of it, when you're competing. And so that was a big part of all of this, was just that experience. And then, second thing I'd say would be a lot of the folks I know, or when I was coming up as a grad assistant, that tree with Coach Leach and all of it, a lot of those guys have all good things to say about Jake, and just such a believer in him, and just where he's taken it, and where the scheme has progressed into where it is now. Whether it was Dana or Cliff or you name it, all just way effusive and just way strong with their praise. And then the third thing would be just this past year, he goes up to Cal and takes an offense that was a pro-style offense, and the type of people that were there, and was able to just inject a whole bunch of life and points and yards and excitement into it. And I look at our situation here, and I can see some parallels. And so I think those three things really kind of just stood out. And in the process, just getting to know him, just way impressed. And he was in front of the team the other day, and you could see all of it. And so I know that there's guys hanging around his office. He's got a bunch of guys to call. He's got coaches to call. He's got all these lists with all these players hanging around. And so I think all of it's happening way fast for him, but it's cool to see the excitement on the team. And so looking forward to what we can build together. But excited for him, excited for this. I'll go ahead and pass it over to Jake.
Yeah, I guess the word excitement is kind of where I'm at as well. Just excited to be back in Texas and be around the great state in terms of high school football with the greatest probably coaches and the players in high school in the country. And just to be a part of the Texas High School Coaches Association again. I come from a high school coach. My dad is a former high school coach, and I understand the importance of just really the association of what those guys do behind the scenes to keep football at a premium in this state. And very fortunate to be back in this state, and just humbled to have an opportunity to work with Coach Aranda. Been fortunate to meet him over the years, but truly got to know him over personally over the last couple days. And just the reputation that he has in this profession is unparalleled. And just excited to come here for him and to work with him and learn from him, and try to help him out in any possible way. I have a ton of respect for what Coach Grimes has done here. And you look at just the team that they had last year, it's a very young team, and that the experience that they had in 2023 is going to be great moving into the 2024 season. And excited to work with these guys and just help in any way I can. Like Coach was saying, I've kind of been spinning a little bit. It's hard to actually put faces with names right now, but eventually that's going to slow down. I'm going to get that. But it's been good just talking with commitments and current players and former players, and just getting to know the coaching staffs. And when I was at Texas State, I think we only had 22 staff members, period. I think I met 75, I felt like, in the first 10 minutes I was here, and which is a great thing. And the professionalism that has occurred, how they've welcomed my family here, man, it's just been a breath of fresh air. And it makes me want to work even harder and put a product out there on the field that you guys will be proud of, because I see the passion that this place has, and they want to win. And that's why I'm here, is to help in any way I can. And from an offensive standpoint, it's a fun offense to be a part of. You'll see the spread, up-tempo offense with downhill run game. I'm really big in the downhill run game and the vertical passing. But every single year you're going to adapt to your personnel. I've been in situations before when I was with, Coach Sonny Dykes at Cal in 2016. We didn't even have one tight end in the room, and you just have to adapt and go from there. And then I inherited an offense last year with about 9 tight ends in the room. So, you just get creative and still have the same exact principles and concepts of what you have learned over the years. I've been very fortunate to be around a lot of good coaches and players over the years. And I attribute all that to my success because I'm only as good as the people that I surround myself with. And that's what fires me up about being here at Baylor because it's just been first class, and how they've handled my family and engaged them. Really looking forward to being here and being in the community and meet these guys. And, it fires me up because I want to get on the field now. But right now it's more about recruiting and making sure that all the pieces fall into place right now. And, get moving from there, and we'll start getting on the field here in January, February, whenever Coach gets that schedule going. But right now it's all about recruiting and meeting people and, really understanding the community and understanding Baylor. So, again, excited to be here and ready to get to work.
Bryce Cherry, Waco Trib. Jake, welcome to Waco. Can you take us a little through those conversations that you had with Dave, before you were officially hired, and what specifically attracted you to Baylor and to Dave?
Yeah, starting with Baylor, just watching from afar. I've gone up against Baylor 6 times in my career. I'm from Oklahoma. I'm a Big 12 guy, and just watching the commitment to, facilities and resources and just how they've built this program. And then a lot's attributed to Coach. Just looking at the university, it's a solid foundation with a lot of great people. And when Coach called me and the reputation that he's had, like I was saying, I'm at a point in my career where I'm not just searching for jobs. It's about the people. I'm married now. I got a 5 and a 6-year-old. It's very important to me. And Coach Aranda has been great, just on, talking with my family and myself, and very comforting, and, I wanted to be very respectful in the process as well. Being a former head coach at one point, I understand that a lot of times when you call guys, they can use that for leverage at their other spots. And I did not want to do that. I wanted to be efficient and quick with it. And when he was, went through the feelers of all the other coaches that were probably out there for this job, and when we got to the process of, all right, hey, we're going to move in your direction, I wanted to be very courteous of what I was going to do and move forward with it, and fired up to work for a guy like Coach Aranda. And just the reputation, as you guys already know, it's a pretty strong reputation in this profession.
Hey, Jake. Parker Ream, Fox 44. Nice to see you again. I think we did a Zoom call 2 years ago with you at Texas State. Just kind of wanted to go back to your opening comments about being here to kind of help win, turn around this program. A lot of pressure to kind of turn around an offense that struggled last year. How do you kind of deal with that coming in and turning around programs? It seems like that's kind of what you've done as offensive coordinator in your career.
Yeah, and I don't think this is really a turnaround. I just think it's here to help with the offensive side of the football, the offensive side, and I'm always very cordial in terms of not coming in here and with my hair on fire and just trying to make decisions. I'm always about just understanding the direction and the culture that Coach has created, and you figure out what he believes in and what the team believes in, and how they handle themselves, and then you build off of that. Like I've said before, I'm very fortunate to be around a lot of great offensive minds and players that have really evolved my game from an offensive perspective, because I do think the game's changed a lot. I think tight ends are used a lot more, and we used to be, back in the day, just a spread air raid system where no one knew how to defend it. Now everybody's doing it, and everybody knows how to defend it, so you got to get more creative. And Coach is bringing me in here to help on that offensive side of the ball, where he's been a pro style, and he wants to go to a spread system, and I've been a part of that transition. And you've got to understand what personnel you have, and you adapt to what they can do. And that's what fires me up as well. It's just to get on the grass and just see what they're capable of doing. And and it's mainly just to keep the vision the same. Will be a lot of discussions with Coach on terms of what he wants and how he looks at things, and it's up to me to get the ball moving in that direction and put up some points.
Jake, David Smoke, 365 Sports. Have you already had time, or have you had time to look at the personnel? Some are coming back, some are not. Have you had time, and how does that affect what you do immediately on the recruiting trail?
Yeah, fortunately, I've been up against these guys, recently, so I have a pretty good idea. But in today's ever-changing climate of college football, there's going to be a lot of moving parts. Like, as you guys saw, you wake up this morning and the whole country is, moving and shaking, and ESPN alerts are hitting your phone, and so it's more about like what I see is that there's not much attrition at this school compared to most, and that's a compliment to Coach Aranda and the culture that he's created here. So you're allowed to really just kind of look at what we currently have, which I have looked at a few of these guys. I do think there's pieces in place to be successful here. I truly do, and I do think that the spread system, you don't have to be perfect all the time, and it allows these guys to play more freely and openly, and that's something that where you may not be the most talented person, but you can have a lot of success in this system. And like there will be a lot of moving and shaking, as I've said, over the next month, but once it like solidifies down, we'll have a pretty good direction on what we're going to go from a personnel standpoint. I can ask you a question.
Coach, you obviously you embraced the transfer portal a bit when you were at Texas State. I guess as you kind of reshape the offense or retool it, whatever you want to call it, how much are you going to rely on the transfer portal to kind of do that?
That's kind of up to Coach. And we've talked about how there's some voids that need to be filled at times, and you're going to have to use the portal. But I don't think it's going to be much. I really don't. I think we have a plan in place now. It could change. Like, I think things change all the time. It's different when you're at a Power 5 school and compared to a Group of 5 school. And I think there's different circumstances for every single university that you're at, and different needs. But with where we're at currently, I don't think there's going to be much, but there could be, based off of what happens over the next few days.
Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider. Dave, can you talk about what you were looking for in this position and what put Jake at the top of that list?
I was looking for excitement. I was looking for creativity, explosiveness on offense, a balance of run and pass, fun, scoring points, having fun while you're doing it. I think all is there. It's present in Jake's system. The day that it broke, and prior to the announcement, going around checking in on just the office, kind of doing the walk around, and there's guys hidden away in all of our meeting rooms watching his film, and we have Sawyer and Jake Roberts watching the USC game, and then we've got another guy watching the UCLA game, and just all of it. And so I just think it's way cool. There's an excitement there. They can see the variation and the freedom within the scheme, and they're excited to kind of throw themselves into it. So I'm excited for them.
Hi, Jake. Shaji Adam with ABC 25. You kind of touched on it. What is the identity of the offense that you want to have on the field and off the field?
Yeah, we're going to be a spread up-tempo offense, and you probably hear that, heard a lot. But like playing with tempo is going to give us an edge. It really does. I think in today's time, defenses are so innovative, so creative. Like you used to be able to go up against a team that was a 4-down team, and that's what they do the entire game. Now you got to block it all. They're going to be in bear fronts and odd fronts and 4-down fronts, everything. So I think tempo kind of really combats that at times and puts our guys in better positions where they don't have to block all the exotic looks. So we're going to be a spread up tempo team. But I think the run game, what we've done over the years, is more of a downhill approach. because again, there's so much variety with defensive fronts. If you do get caught in a bad look at times, and you can at least manage to get that back to the line of scrimmage where you're not dealing with negative plays, and you're still trying to play and stay on course and not play behind the chains. But you've got to establish a run game, so you play fast, and you got to hammer the ball downhill, and then it's all about vertical shots down the field. And I always try to take around 10 shots vertically down the field a game. That's like the goal that I'm always trying to hit. So you're going to see a lot of vertical shots down the field. And then just from my air raid background as well, there will be an element of quick game and perimeter screen game and everything to get the defense running sideline to sideline. And the theory behind that is if you're playing with a great pace and you're getting the defense to run sideline to sidelines, like you can get them to wear down pretty quickly. And at that point, then the ball's in our court. So there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of conditioning involved. There's a lot of an edge and toughness. But if you're just playing with a good pace and you're being aggressive and tough and running downhill and still keeping them on their toes of going sideline to sideline and throwing it vertically, it's a really good balance, and it's very, very tough to defend.
Jake, the news of Blake entering the transfer portal kind of broke today with the portal opening. What's the priority there, obviously, with the spread offense needing a quarterback to run that system? And do you attack the transfer portal yourself to find that guy?
Yeah, I think you're going to have to. If Blake decides not to come back, I'm still in conversations with Blake. I get, new guy and coming in, a lot of unknowns, and he's got to build a relationship with me. So that's still on the table. But just from a depth purpose, this is why, especially at Texas State, when I was in these scenarios, you have to build depth, and sometimes the easiest way to do that is to get into the portal. But I do believe quarterback play is the key to success. I really do. The best offenses I've ever had, I've had really good quarterbacks, and I've been fortunate. I think I've coached 10 NFL QBs, and those have been some pretty solid offenses when you got a good guy, at the trigger man at that position. So that's going to be that importance. But losing Blake, I think he's a great player, and he's a proven player and played a lot of games, and we'll see where it goes from there. Just still have the dialogue and conversations with him, and still be kind of searching around for anybody else.
Dave, do you have a timetable in terms of when you would like your staff sort of finalized, and how important it is to get that in place, with signing day right around the corner?
Yeah, in terms of priority, the number one thing would be to get it right. Just with the possibility of this year and the success being so close for us, we believe that, and trying to be able to get a piece that fits and then can challenge and can help us get over to the other side of it. And so I think getting it right is the most important thing. But then I think a close second is going to be what you just mentioned. We've got guys on the team that want to know who their coach is, and there's opportunities now to leave and to find certainty other places. And then we've got recruits that want to know who their coach is going to be, and parents of those recruits that want to know who their coach is going to be and have that relationship and all of it. And so that for sure is way important. And we've both had talks with all of that here just the last couple of days, and we'll continue to. But we want to find someone that fits. We want to find someone that can help us get us an edge and get us over the top, and then be there for just the Baylor community and Baylor family, because they're really two big hires. And so, yeah, I think that process for sure has already started. And so we're hoping it's sooner than later, but the best fit is the most important.
Jake, what's the most important thing you learned from Dana? I mean, obviously you're with him for a long time, then you went back to him.
That's a loaded question right there. Dana, I think he's a brilliant offensive mind. What I learned from him, he was the initial air raid guy. He was a receiver at Iowa Wesleyan, under Hal Mummy and Mike Leach, so he was all about, spread, air raid, throw it around 100 times a game. And to watch him just manage the team when we got to Oklahoma State and we were at West Virginia, and how he adapted to personnel, and the importance of being a head coach and managing the game and running the football and establishing the run game and how important that is. I was always impressed with Dana on how he would just adapt and how he can manage a game. And I thought that was something that I learned. I learned like everything from him in terms of offensive play, but what I loved about him is that how he just adapts, and he's not stuck in his ways. He's willing to learn. He's willing to evolve. And that's something that's always been impressive with Dana, is just how he kind of grew as a head coach. And I just was very fortunate to be around him in the years of him being a coordinator all the way through a head coach, and understand how there's more to it than just trying to score 1 million points and put the defense in a bad position. It's also about management and understanding how to win together.
You remember about the 70-63 game the most?
Yeah, that was a wild game. I thought we were going to run out of plays. It was just a shootout going back and forth. I remember after that game, LeBron James was tweeting at Geno Smith, and then it was just I forgot. I think we had a 300-yard receiver, a 200-yard receiver, and a 100-yard receiver in that game. And I think Baylor had the same exact deal. I think that was Terrence Williams, correct? If I agree. I don't think the defensive coordinator slept very well that night by both teams. I was just kind of in shock about how that game was just a great shootout.
Colt Barber, Sick'em 365. You mentioned coaching several NFL quarterbacks. What are you looking for in a quarterback when you're going through the portal, going through high school? And then also, you mentioned kind of having more freedom within the offense and your receivers playing and not having to be perfect all the time. How do you see that kind of from an offense that's more precise to what you're going to be doing, and how that can help them grow in this offense?
Right. Starting with quarterbacks, it's the main thing I look for is their arm strength. Are they capable of making all the throws? That kind of eliminates a lot from there. But it's more about the arm angles and the off-platform throws. They've got to be able to be creative. You've seen the Pat Mahomes throws where he's eye drilling, looking one way, throwing it the other way. It's all about arm angles, how you can get the ball out. And I look for mobility too, if you can just extend the play. Now, you don't have to, be a complete dual threat guy. You just got to be able to move the pocket and to kind of extend when necessary. But out of all those guys I've coached, I've called games differently with all of them. And that's a lot of it. You have to really dive deep, into them and get to know them and understand their strengths and weaknesses and what they're good at. The main thing is you got to create a dialogue with them too, where they'll open up to you, where they'll say that they don't like certain concepts or certain routes, or they're not good with it, and that helps me out a ton, because there's a lot of football, a lot of offensive concepts you can get to, and you want to put those guys in the best positions. And then the second one was about that's been the beauty of the air raid system. It does take a little bit of time, but that's why you start, as early as you possibly can. I have about 8 concepts that are a lot of, just get open routes, and they're vertical. They're either quick game, or they're intermediate, or they're vertical shots, and even RPOs as well. But to me, that's again, the variety of defense that you see. They're getting creative, the defenses are, with outside leverage technique with corners now, and now you got to inside release those and how you get open. But if you're telling a kid to outside release and there's a guy outside of you and it's hard to do, it gets really difficult, and those guys got to be perfect in those plays. So we let those guys have a little bit more freedom and try to just use the leverage of the defense to their advantage and just to get open. So it does take a little bit of time, but once they figure it out, and a lot of these guys come from great, coaching in this state, and they've been probably learning this at a very, probably in 3rd grade, so which makes it a lot easier on us. So it does take some time, but just the freedom to allow these guys to get open and not, really hit your head against a wall for certain looks, but they just understand the weaknesses and the voids of what is trying to be, what the defense is trying to stop, will help these guys out a lot.
Yeah, Dave, with all that goes into being a head coach, right, and you obviously going to be calling plays next year on the defensive end, what's the benefit to having someone who's been a head coach when you're, divvying up some of those responsibilities on a day-to-day basis?
His just appreciation for all the entanglements, all of the things that aren't necessarily at issue, but can be affected down the line, things that there's rabbit holes that we always have to go into, and which rabbit holes are important right now, which ones we can punt for later. I think when there is a broader vision at one point, that stays with you when you're focused on detail and focused on the immediate. And so he has that. And so when I'm away, he can come with that type of vision for that offensive room and kind of what comes out of it. And so that was an important part of it. Just looking kind of like we're saying, just collectively. Thank you all. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.